Welcome back to Breaking Skyrim. This is probably the final episode because we've reached so many heights that there's always more to be broken, but it's so broken it's not even funny. Um, on our last episode, I had started setting up um, our own manor house in Falkreath, and also a farm in Whiterun, right next to Rorikstead. So I said I was going to do a whole bunch of busy work, and I have. I have maxed out my smithing, so now we have dragon plate. I went with the insulated. Not only do we have dragon plate, we actually have a craft set as well of clothes. It's meant to boost, uh, meant to boost alchemy and smithing. So using those, I upgraded legendary out of all my sets, but I remade my ghostly set. This time I made it with alteration, and I'll explain why. Uh, Alteration has your detect life and detect death, so having those constant while also having the ability to, you know, disappear with illusion or even use illusion to warp the battlefield to your whim. I kept the pickpocketing and sneak together just because that really does work out quite nice. Um, I also did a couple of missions to let time pass so my steward at my manor could add furnishings. The only things that I've ended up building is the entire cellar. She will not touch the cellar, so it's not completely finished, but I've done that. I've made a straight set of conjuration because of this unique enchantment. Conjuration spells cost 25 less to cast, was just kind of a given, but they also last 15% longer, and you can increase the summon limit by one for lesser conjured or reanimated undead. So what that allows us to do with that set, and of course we also have the Yin Yang set, the Destruction Restoration. I decided to give that two-handed, and I also gave one-handed. I didn't give one-handed. No, that was another test set. But yes, I did. I gave one-handed, just because another thing I added to the Necromancer set is I gave health, stamina, and magicka regenerations. Due to me being a vampire, that helps to offset, and you actually have the base that they do. So you may not have full health regeneration, but you have 31% because it's enchanted through the armor and not actually on your person, even though you increase the enchantment being an undead. It's hard to explain, just so broken. But that allows me to roam around during the daylight and still have some regenerations for stamina, magicka, and health. Um, we also made a shield just because you only really need the one. But with the necro setup that I have going on, having that unique enchantment, uh, you can now summon in your Bone Colossus, which he's a greater, not a lesser. Oh, come on now. And now that raises our limit. Well, we'll do the champions, yeah. That raises our limit of how many we can summon. So now you have a small skeletal army. This also works for some of the ghosts, the Undying Ghost, the Cursed Spectre. A lot of the that's a greater. The Death Priest is a greater, but the Cursed Spectre um, does not work with your Flame Atronachs. They have to be some form of undead. The Undying Ghost, it'll work too, but that's kind of anti-productive because it takes up your mana, and the second one's not going to have any boosts. It also works on lesser zombies, not your Dreadthal, not the permanent one. Um, it'll actually replace it, depending. And of course, this is me having no skills in Conjuration. Oop, wrong way. Whatsoever. I took Novice, and I'm trying to get back because I legendaried it to have my bound weapons do more damage. But I've found a few pieces of equipment. You know, we already had Kashmir. I finished the Kilcreath Temple for Dawnbreaker. Haven't even upgraded it yet because it's broken. I found Ruin's Edge. It randomly applies Frost, Demoralize, Frenzy, Drain Magicka, or Paralyze. Which I just like it because it's a living weapon. It has an eyeball and everything. But that's my bow. I use a bound quiver. If you notice, I don't have but one arrow, and that's probably because I got shot with it. So now, though, I have taken some time, and I have built up my block to 100. I didn't take all of Shield Wall. I just took the first one, and then I decided to go up the elemental side just to get more resistance to magic. That way, if you ever want to get off of the Atronach stone and use a different stone, you still have broken magicka block. But I really wanted shield charge. Super cool move because sprinting with a shield raised knocks down most targets. It is actually quite entertaining. I don't know if I could do it to my skeleton. They don't get knocked down, but they do get knocked. But there is a nifty little trick when it comes to having that skill. Even though it's fun to just fling bandits and wolves and whatever you freight train into, the best thing you can do with this, let me put on my ghostly set for sneak, put on invisibility, and go into sneak mode. Now what you're going to do is you're going to start running. Oh, why is it not working now? You're going to do your shield charge. There it is. And after a while, I'm actually released off of the analog stick. It's running on its own. You can see that the stamina is going down, but while in this, still in stealth, mind you, you can go invisible. And now nothing's going to see you. You can run right past it. Now what you can also do is you can raise your shield and... Now personally, I don't like doing that if I'm just trying to get from A to B. Because of doing it with your shield lowered while you're still running in that smooth form. It's quite nice. Just make sure you have enough stamina for it to work. And be holding the analog stick forward. Never saw me. Holding the analog stick forward when you let go of block. And then you can release your analog stick. Now, if you notice, my stamina is going to run out. This is the best part about this perk. My stamina just ran out. I'm still running. And I can still cast whatever for free. So now, I am a complete ghost, Naruto ninja style. You never saw anything, it was just the wind. But, again, I had to stand there for an hour and a half and let something keep shooting me. Now, things that will stop you, if you block again, or if you drop down from a surface, just enough to have to catch yourself, before fall damage. See, the elemental never saw me. And here I can go again now. There you go. It finally stopped. But mind you, it's... Oh, yep, so it's nighttime. Hence I have stamina regen. Now, while it's nighttime, using the Necro set, having those boosts, your magicka is super quick. Do elementals show up on that? No, they don't. So, your magicka is super quick compared to the health and stamina regen boosts, but it's still fantastic just to have those boosts. Am I just floating? That was funny. Yeah, but to have those boosts. Now, mind you, the other benefit is going up the side that I went is having your shield raise makes you move faster, block runner. So if this is too slow, and it used to be before block runner when you would hold down block you go even slower when it comes to sneak mode in a dungeon or something like that. If it's too slow but you don't want to, you know, go run or start that whole process to be running in stealth mode, it actually makes you go faster by blocking. It's about the same as your, you know, run speed, not sprint, but your run speed. So really nice to sit there and let that get broken. With our heavy armor being so high because we're in the dragon, heavy dragon. I also, the whole reason I legendaried was to get 2 of the perks back, because we finally went past well fitted to get matching set. The reason being is you're not going to find anything better than dragon. Technically Daedric is better statistically, but it's heavier, and this is already heavy enough. But because we have that conditioning perk on the other side of heavy armor, us wearing this full set, I mean, watch the carry weight just jump when I put on the crafting set. Yeah. So, much better now. Put all those together, it'll drop it back down. So it's like you're not even carrying the other 2 sets. So something I like to do in a big engagement, like a dragon shows up, put on the Necro set, pull out my Bone Colossus, and then 3 marksmen. They're going to end up dead occasionally, like just right off the bat. But from there, I usually switch to the Restoration and the Destruction, because that allows me to, you know, keep up damage with the Destruction if he decides to stay ranged until you get him down to that half health and can bring him out of the sky. When it comes to the Ghostly set, it's more passive for me. I usually end up using the alteration being free for Paralyze and then Illusion to disappear. You know, really good to break the Thieves Guild, just because you've already got the stealth going on, plus there's pickpocket. Lockpicking isn't that hard, and we have a spell for that. That really does not cost that much, so you don't even need to switch armors. Now we only need the 1 shield, which itself is magic resistance on top of, whilst blocking, we get the magic resistance from the skill in the block tree. So, even more broken. That's one of the reasons I decided to go one-handed when it came to the Necro, because it's already Conjuration. I've already got, you know, all the bound weaponry, but the one that's actually, you know, applicable right now is the bound sword. Only problem being is I need that perk to get them back up into damage, otherwise you don't really get the damage, but you don't really need it honestly, because you're already a tank. It doesn't matter how many times you need to hit them, they're going to hit you as many as they can, and it's not going to do anything. As you can see, the only skill I really haven't messed with is light armor and pickpocket. Um, I break pickpocketing by doing the glitch in Riften, get arrested, and then keep adding things to the inventory of the Blackbriar that's locked up. Even though he's looking at you, you can still do the pickpocket, and it's not like he can turn you in, you're already in jail. Um, Speech always goes up by itself. I've gotten alchemy to 54 because, like I said, I was going to do a lot of busy work, which I have. No, plantation's right there. Yeah, and now if you just point yourself in a direction, you know, you can AFK this completely. Um, you have to kind of steer with your right stick if you're letting go of things and letting play out. It's bandits versus oh, you don't need the whole army. Ooh, did she get them all? No, there's one still over there. Oh no, I've been seen. Alright, well.
You think you stand a chance?
Ooh, how did that not kill you? You just went face first into a rock. So, yep, completely broken. I almost just killed my own skeleton. The offensively defensive purpose of using your shield bash now, the shield sprint, yeah, it works a lot faster than trying to hit him with a paralyze and then smack him. Just knock him around, run up, hit him, knock him around again, run up and hit him. I've literally gone bowling through bandit camps, knocking people around, just trying to kill them all with the bashing, and it works. It is fantastic. Now, something to note when doing the sprint, you need to actually have a spell in your hand while doing the sprint, because if you let go of block, he'll still have the shield going. And it also will stop whenever you let go of the analog stick. But if you're holding a spell... Oh, no. I was also... Not stealth. That's why it's not working. But if you're running in the stealth and then you let go, he won't put down the shield. The reason this is a problem is because if you're running through the cities, the shield itself puts off kind of a radius. There's an aura to it. Pretty much, as far as I can tell, the same size as like a ward spell. And when you get close to somebody, if you don't give them the wide berth, you're going to smack them with the shield. Now, if you're holding a spell in the other hand, when you do all this, even though it doesn't show you in third person and first person, you can see that the shield is down. You can run right past the person, I mean, almost touching them, and you'll still be in stealth. This will probably stop me from running, but the best part being you can just keep pumping whatever spell you had equipped. So, oh, I got the wrong suit on. But we're finally here at the plantation. Looks nothing like before. You can tell. I added in a blacksmithing here. The inside looks the same. We had already bought all those, but we added in our planters here. I haven't gotten rid of the workbench. You have the option to. I just like the aesthetic it gives, the atmosphere. I added in the apiaries. We fixed the windmill, which yes, you can use that to grind up sacks of flour and get straw. We bought chickens. We bought a cow. Wherever he ran off to. Yep, there they are. So those are harvestable with the eggs. We bought goats, so that's milk and eggs. Um, we put in a stable, so there's a horse. I leave it here just for them to use as a workhorse. We put in quarters because they were just sleeping on the ground. Now, it's the middle of the night. But you can always talk to your steward at any time. Not to mention, if you're a vampire like me, this is a really good place to always have a stable of your own thralls, essentially, for feeding. But
You're someone
talk
who
to
can get
your...
things done. I like. Very good, sir.
And now you can collect your profits. That's about 2 days
Good.
of profit
That
for
time's
me.
over.
It'll save up to 5,000 as a cap, but I make a little bit over 500. The reason being, I'm not sweating how much money I'm making. There are videos to get the peak of your crops, but for me, I have planted creep clusters, which you cannot harvest for some reason. Mora tapenelia, however you say that, and scaly foliata. Yeah, I know I butchered those names, but by having them in both of your plots, I also planted a potato in a leek. I don't know where my potato went. I guess I must have harvested it recently. But potatoes and leeks, I did those because I have a few food items. Vegetable soup is one of them, but venison stew, I just went hunting. Um, I already had salt because I started to delve into alchemy, began to break that with the farm here. This is my poison factory, which is why I don't sweat how much money I get. You know, I just put everything evenly. I don't even harvest anymore because you can't get the creep cluster. Or at least it must take an immense amount of time for it to come in, because I haven't seen any of it sprout up. But, renovations to the farmhouse, you know, I got everything updated. The kitchen now has full services. Bedroom looks a lot better. But the main thing I liked was there was a put your own shrine here. I went with Azura just because it adds to the magic resist whole side of the build, you know, being pretty much immune to it. There's also a unique one for Boethia and Melifina, or however you say her name. But you could also throw in whichever one works for your build. They have all the classic shrines, but you can only choose it once. So be careful with that. Again, I just got that because I have all the regular shrines at the manor house. Now, when you have the farm all set up, daily extras will end up here. Like I have chicken eggs, I have honey from the apiary, I have milk from the goats and the cow. But whenever the crop rolls around again, I will have more of the creep cluster, scaly foliatia, and more tapenella. Yep, which I already have some saved here. So I have a whole bunch of ingredients that I've just been saving up, experimenting with, just to, you know, try and figure out what they do. I don't bother going online and looking it all up. It's more fun to mess with it here, in my personal opinion. But we're going to take all those, and now you can get this potion of fortified carry weight, but it has 4 effects. It's actually really nice because you get carrying capacity, stamina regeneration, illusion spells are better, but you're weaker to magic, but it also gives you back 25 points of magic. but you can see the value of them. They're, you know, super expensive, and because there is multiple effects, you can see how fast you jump up with all that. So now you don't have to worry about money when it comes to alchemists and general vendors, but I don't know how much my gold was at. I'm going to guess it was somewhere around 40 grand or in the 30 grand region, but the reason I'm at 47, I actually invested pretty much the whole fortune in boosting up this farm and then boosting up our manor house, which I ended up making it an alchemist lab to do potions, whereas that's the poison factory we were just at. This is to help benefit me. The only downside is when it comes to making your potions of fortify enchanting, I have smithing covered. Smithing's covered with the blister wart and the glowing mushrooms, but oh, what's the last one? The snowberries. To get your fortify enchanting, you're gonna have to find something else. Blue butterfly wings and spriggan sap is really good, but there's a whole list of other things you can bring to the table for that. Again, a potato and a leek, because I hunt all the time. You know, use the venison, use the salt. But everything here has been upgraded. We were just a small little house, which you know, I've kept it the guest house. I didn't put it into the breeze room, but this side over here is my greenhouse, where we're growing more of what you see here, the blisterwort, snowberries, and the glowing mushrooms. And then on this side is a kitchen, and then in the back we have the alchemist tower. The main reason I wanted those is because of the free stuff that comes whenever you add in your furnishings and whatnot. There will be little touches they put that will have alchemy ingredients that you can now take. Now, I have not decorated any of this upstairs. I think I put in the enchanter's table just because she was taking too long. But other than that, she has done all this for me, putting in all these planters and whatnot. I had to plant, obviously, the stuff that's in them, but all these display racks. You can see there's extra honey here. I think there was like honeycomb sitting here when this first came through. Now here's some garlic, which can be used in cooking or in alchemy. But you can just leave everything to her, but she takes a lot of money to do it. She's added in more furniture back here. She put in a safe. Nice. The bottom of your alchemy tower is all about storage, but that's also, you know, you can come here and, hey, garlic. You know, harvest everything that was in here. I mean, there was stuff on the shelves, there was stuff in these boxes. If we go upstairs, yeah, kitchen. But same thing, it's more free stuff for you to be able to use for your recipes and your food boosting items. Personally, for me, I only use the venison stew and vegetable soup because they both give you that health and stamina regen, and then an elsewhere fondue because that gives you the magicka regen, not to mention some bonus magicka for quite some time.
To you, my Thane.
But just be on the lookout for certain things, like for example, you're gonna need your ale. I'm always on the lookout for ale. I'm always on the lookout for moon sugar. Moon sugar being the rarest. The Eider cheese wheel, now that we have a constant milk income, we can turn that into cheese with salt and the milk. And then when it comes, you know, your vegetable soup is all growable except for the tomatoes. So you're always on the hunt for tomatoes, doing it that way. Personally, me, I'd rather just do the potato and the leek, and then I find salt everywhere, and venison as well. So those are some nice items to boost your regens and whatnot. But I don't think she's done my upstairs yet because it takes forever. Like, she still hasn't done the bedrooms. She's just now getting out here to do these because all I did was the enchanter's table so I can enchant all my new suits. She did finish in here though. Looks nice. And not to mention another reason I like doing the Alchemist Tower for this manor property is, for one, there's a hawk nest that you can raid up here occasionally, but it's just a really nice view. You go Assassin's Creed style. You know, it's a nice view of the lake. It's gorgeous. Nestled right next to this little mountain. But that's how I made the potions factory. So that gives me my fortify smithing potion. That gives me my fortify enchanting potion. So, you know, guzzle your smithing, put on your crafting stuff. You know, make sure you crafted the potion with your crafting stuff. That way you have your alchemy boost. There's also a loop that you can do with that whole setup. Especially once you get your alchemy all maxed out and you know you got the right perks put into it. What you can do is you can boost your alchemy with an enchantment. Then you can make an enchanting potion with that boosted alchemy and boost the enchantment on another piece of equipment. Same enchantment, but higher way to do it. You know, it's a bit of a treadmill, and I personally just don't think it's necessary. Everything's pretty much overbroken as it is. Um, Not to mention you're going to need to have a lot of potions because they don't last very long, so it's pretty much potion, make a piece of armor enchanted, go back and forth. But that's also how I've gotten all of my armor up so high is because I was using smithing enchantment. I was doing legendary stuff on Daedric things, and I don't even have the Daedric perk because I had my smithing up so high. So, yeah, always have a crafting set too. But everything you see here, I've built myself. I'm not even done. If you want, you can just have the aquarium and have the basement be the aquarium, but I like having smithing, alchemy, and enchanting all in the same manor house. So I don't do that. The only things I haven't built is a safe and my Shrine of Dibella because I just haven't found the amulet. Don't know how. But me being a vampire also throws in this little caveat of having a coffin. Now, if you sleep in a coffin, yet again, having the well-rested bonus, but you also feel a surge of vampiric power, which I want to say that's more magical resistance. Yep, vampire blood rested, so now you're resisting a plus 10 to magic, so it's plus 40 from all that on top of your resistance from Brent and Blood, and then you can add the Blessing of Azura into it. So not only are you going to resist most magic, but everything else you don't resist, you absorb 80% of. Magic really does not touch you. It just has to be a super dose of magic, like Dragon's Breath, for you to be a little worried. Yeah. Not to mention, I like that they hid it in a concealed door, because that's who doesn't want a hidden room in their house. Again, I have all the shrines of the basics, but Dibella. And again, like I was talking about free perks, there were, you know, alchemy ingredients, there were soul gems. I picked up vegetable soup from here. Um, there's a whole lot of free things you can get. There's, oh no, those aren't tappable. That was a different house. But full blacksmith in here, which is one of the reasons I liked it. And having it close, you know, you can get your blacksmithing done here after you've taken the potion, wearing the armor with the enchantment, run upstairs, throw on an enchantment when you've taken the potion, and I've done the treadmill. It gets pretty high. Um, to the point that with me being a vampire, having the necromage perk and all that, I have made it to one suit of armor to have all the magics free, so
Long
you
life
don't
to you,
have
Thane.
the headache of using whatever. But I don't ever use the ultimate style of mage. What I mean by that is I don't ever find the time to summon a whole skeletal army and then switch over to being invisible, repositioning, and then switching to destruction and blowing up the battlefield. It never gets that far. Usually I just either watch my troops decimate them as a conjurer, or I avoid the conflict as a ghost, or I get in their face as the super badass destruction and restoration mage. I will destroy your everything and you cannot destroy me, haha. It's mixing the styles. You pretty much, it ended up going to waste. I had the capability to do everything, but how often do I really use everything in an engagement? Um, Not to mention a little sub benefit from all that is not all the equipment is going to be put towards reducing the cost of the magics that it, is named for. Like here, you can't put anything else besides on 4 pieces, so my gauntlets went to pickpocketing and sneak. So having another set, my boots here go to carry weight and one-handed. My boots here go to carry weight and two-handed. But you could also throw in whatever you really wanted to. This is just how I like to do it because my OCD says everything should match. Uh, Not to mention, it's nice having the carry weight. When it comes to the ghostly set, I don't really bother with the carry weight. And again, you can mix and match those as you see fit if you're trying to stay a ghost. And our sneak is already broken enough, you can switch one of them. That way you get your carry weight and then some one-handed. However, and again, you can enchant it any way you want. This is just how I like to breaketh the game. So, it just adds a little extra something. The reason you see I don't have anything on bows is because I will make a whole light armor set for bows. That way I can finish out my sneak, get my archery finished out. Kind of counterproductive when you think about it, because you need to get hit in light armor. So, honestly, I'd probably just find somewhere and stand around while casting some restoration. Let something small beat me up. The rest of what I got going on is pretty much time consuming. I've sped up the alchemy just because now I have potion factories on top of whatever else I'm collecting. Speech is going up because I'm selling potions left and right. Like I said, pickpocketing, there's a whole gang of videos on how you can glitch that out in Riften. I've done some lockpicking just because getting that up there, it's not a bad idea. There's actually a perk for finding greater measurable treasure. It helps you to get the enchantments that you're missing, but I don't find it necessary. So yeah, a truly broken character all started off by becoming a mage and a two-handed heavy armor warrior. Again, I only did block because who needs a mount when you can just keep running? But this is a pride and joy of mine. That's why I wanted to bring you the series on how to break naturally, or at least as naturally as you can get, no mods and whatnot. This allows you to go through all your storylines. Now that I have sneak broken because of my enchanting, and sneak's almost a 90. The Thieves Guild is nothing. The Dark Brotherhood is nothing, because you have all the magic that can boost both of those storylines. There's really nothing you can't handle, and you can choose how you want to handle it. Go with the ghostly set if you want to do the archery, because it's so broken. As long as you're in shadow, they will literally run up to you and not see you, so you can just keep sneak attacking. I do the one-handed with the necro set, just because if I'm going to get in with everybody else, one-handed works. Not to mention you can close the gap a lot faster with the whole shield bash thing going on. I like to put my two-handed with the destruction because that's really for dragons. It takes forever to pull out an army against the dragons, so I rarely ever do it. Instead, make the destruction free, throw as many spells as you can to get them to land, and then just go ham with something two-handed. Which again, we have the Kashmir for the fire resistance being a vampire, and the magic absorb. Yeah, everything's broken. You can pretty much do everything and anything in the game. If you're really feeling like it, go ahead and enchant yourself out to be the ultimate one-handed and block, or be the ultimate sneak and archer. I haven't even found Muffle yet to put on boots, because Muffle would be one of the great ones to put on the ghostly set. I would have switched that out for the carry capacity and saved that for, yeah, but whatever. Another thing, you know, like, something I did with the crafting set is the circlet has water breathing, just so that way I don't have to use the potions if I'm trapped underwater. The spell doesn't wear off. It's just little things like that, comfort of life. You know, I gave regenerations for stamina when I'm in the crafting, just because if I'm running around the house, stamina regenerates faster, so I can run back and forth between the stations. Yeah. Very broken. I had actually turned, for block, I turned my difficulty up to legend, and forgot about it, because it will go faster with block with how much you can actually take in damage. And again, I had restoration free, so I just stood there and took a whole bunch of damage on legendary, but I'd forgotten about it and came out, and everything was manageable, but it was the noticeable difference in difficulty. It made it exciting again, because I've been playing this on novice to try and keep these episodes shortish, which I'll stop rambling and actually end this episode now that you see how broken you can make something. But yeah, totally able to handle legendary. With having all the magics at your disposal on top of what you can boost and where, it's truly broken. I honestly thought I was still on legendary, but I turned it back down to novice for reasons. I don't know. So yeah, that is how to break Skyrim naturally. Not sure exactly how I'm going to take the next leg of this. Thinking about how to not break Skyrim, because there is a way to break it in the tutorial and make it super extra hard for yourself, even if you just keep it on novice like I have been. But there's also a way to break the game as a sneak archer in the beginning. So yeah. Possibly do that in the next one. I hope you've enjoyed this series. I hope I've demonstrated how to break a character pretty easily. Just for a reference, there's only been 103 days passed in the game, and we're already level 68. So, I've had level 70s that were close to almost 400 days in the game, just because I was playing it naturally, how, you know, the creators intended. But forget about all that. Go ahead and mage break yourself a warrior, and just have fun from there. I know in the last video I said I was just going to save you the trouble of seeing me do a bunch of busy work and side quests and stuff like that. It was about 2 days of work, just randomly playing an hour here and an hour there. So, yeah. In a relatively short amount of time, you can have a completely broken, impervious, legendary-esque character and go farm all the pieces of whatever you need from wherever. I haven't done a handful of the Daedric quests. I haven't done. I think I've done one, maybe. Yeah, I did one. So, yeah. Hope you enjoy. Catch you guys in the next one.